Hello and welcome to Saint Andrew Institute of Technology and Management, Gurgaon. This is online lecture series and today we are discussing irrigation engineering. This is ninth lecture in this course and I am Rohit Raj from Civil Engineering Department. Today I'm going to start uh, head regulation work. Okay, basically in our previous lecture we were discussing cross regulation works. Okay, that is diversion head works. Then there uh, head regulation work uh, arises. Okay, we'll discuss this in detail in next unit also, but let's briefly introduce this here. Okay, what is canal head regulator? So you can see here in an example. Okay, basically canal head regulator is a structure which is constructed at the head of the canal to regulate the flow of water, and this is known as canal head regulator. Means this structure uh, controls the flow of water, maintains the level of water in canal. Okay, means they allow only that proportion of water which is required in canal. Okay, but yes, of course, in extreme conditions, we are unable to control that and we discharge the excess water in case of flood and all. But mostly we control them as per requirement. Okay, in dry season also, we maintain them with the same flow that is required. And how we do this? Using canal head regulator. It consists of a number of piers which divide the total width of the canal into number of spans which are known as bays. Okay, what is pier? Piers are basically the supports. Okay, and these piers divide the canal into different spans, and what they are called, they are called as bays. They said bays. Okay, so we have spans that divide the total width of canal into number of spans that name them we name them as bays. Okay, the pier consists of number of tires on which adjustable gates are placed. Each pier contains number of tires on which adjustable gates are placed. We place gates on piers tires. Okay, means there is a provision of gates. Okay, and we are now well aware of gates and what is its function. Okay, the gates are operated from the top by suitable mechanical device. Okay, we control them with suitable mechanical device. Means in case of requirements, we need to open that gate, or we need to we need to close that gate. Then there should be a suitable mechanical device that can control that easily. Okay, the platform is produced on the top of the pier, so the facility of operating the gates, and there must be a platform so that gates can slide through that. Okay, again, some piers are constructed on the downstream sides of the canal head to support the roadways. Yes, when now we are studying canal head regulatory works, there we generally study multi-purpose works. Okay, multi-purpose projects, and there is provision of a roadway that passes uh, above the structure. Okay, and to support that roadways we need construction of piers on the downstream side also. Okay, here you can see. Okay, there are umpires on the downstream also. Okay. So this is example of canal head regulator. We'll discuss canal head regulatory works in detail in our next unit. Till then, you just you just keep this in mind that it is required to maintain the supply. Okay, okay, to avail with the required amount of water, irrespective of season. Okay. Now next component of diversion head work is silt excluder. When still pocket is formed in front of canal head by construction of the divide wall, then it is found that the lower layer of water contains heavy silt and upper layer contains very fine silt. Okay, means when the cell is generated due to construction of divide wall, we have seen this. Okay, then there situation arises where the bottom portion contains heavy silt and upper layer contains very fine silt. The fine silt is very fertile and it may be allowed to enter the canal. And yes, for irrigation purposes, there is no hard and fast rule that could find out that whether the still silt is harmful or beneficial to the crops. It totally depends upon the type of field and type of product, base periods, okay, everything. But yes, if the seeds are heavy and large, then they will cut the supply of water, that is irrigated water, irrigational water to the roots, and that could lead to severe damages. Okay, so if there is fine silt, then they may allow water also, and they also provide uh, important contents that are useful or beneficial to the products, crops. Okay, so fine cells are fertile and they increase the fertility. So they may be allowed to the canal. For this, now what our concern is that we need to separate that with the heavy cells that may destroy our crops. Okay, so we need to separate heavy cells from fine cells, and that is generally uh, heavy cells are at the bottom portion and fine cells are at the top layer. Okay, so we need to separate them, as fine cells are fertile and they get rich minerals or contents that would be beneficial for the crops, so they may be allowed to enter the canal. But the heavy silt causes sedimentation in the pockets. Okay, to eliminate the suspended heavy silt, the silt excluder is provided. What we do, we provide a special arrangement, okay, for elimination of heavy silt, and that special arrangement is silt excluder. The name itself tells the story that what it will do, it will eliminate the suspended heavy silts. It consists of series of tunnels starting from side of the head regulators, okay, up to the divide wall. It consists series of tunnels that starts from head regulator to the divide wall. Okay, it has tunnels starting from head regulator to divide wall. The tunnel nearest to the head regulator is longest, and the successive tunnels in the length, the tunnel is nearest to the divide wall is shortest. Okay, means the tunnel nearest to the regulator is long, and slowly and its size is decreasing at the tunnel nearest to revived wall is shortest. The tunnels are covered by RCC slabs, and they are covered by RCC slabs. The top level of the slab is kept below sill level. Okay, means they are kept under the sill level of the head regulator. So the completely clear water is allowed to flow in the canal. Okay, means the top level of that slab must be below the sill level so that clear water is always allowed to flow through the canal. The suspended heavy silt carried by the water enters the excluder tunnels and passes out through the scouring sluices. Okay, now the suspended heavy silts enters the tunnels that we have designed, that is the excluder tunnels, and passes out through the scouring sluices. Okay. Silt excluders are those which work with constructed on the bed of river upstream of the head regulator. They are constructed on the beds of river on the upstream side. The clearer water enters the head regulator and silted water enters the silt excluder. Means the clear water goes through canal and silted water is allowed to flow through silt excluder. In this type of work, the silt is therefore removed from the water before it enters to the canal. Means clear water is allowed to the canal and silted water is allowed to flow through the silt excluder that we have designed with the help of excluded tunnels. Okay, that is covered with RCC slab. And another point we need to keep that in mind is the level of RCC slab is kept below the sill level so that silt free water is always allowed to flow through the canals. Although the picture is blur, but you can see the sluices here. Okay, and the diversion here. This is the cross section cut shown here. Okay, and the sediment score pipe is there. This is sediment score pipe. This cross section, that is AA, is this cross section. Okay, this cross section is shown here. Okay, through this, and there the sediment score pipe is shown. This is sedimentation basin. Okay, score pipe. This is score pipe. Their walls. Okay. Silt ejectors are also called as silt extractors. Are those devices which extract the silt from the canal water after the silted water traveled through a certain distance in the off-taking canal. Sometimes they may be designed in the canals also after some times. Okay, means water when traveled through some distance, they may be designed in the canals. These works are therefore constructed on the bed of canal and little distance downstream from head regulator. Means after a little distance from the in the downstream side from the head regulatory works, they are constructed and they are called as silt extractors. Okay, they are designed there, the head regulatory works. Okay, and this is the canal, and there we design the, here we are designing the silt scapes. Okay, now last portion of this unit is marginal embankments or dikes. Okay, we'll see this along with the guide banks. Okay, The marginal bunds or dikes. Marginal embankments or dikes are the earthen embankments which are constructed parallel to the river bank. Means they are designed in the parallel direction of the river flow on one or both banks according to the condition. Means they might be designed in a left side or right side of the flow direction depending upon the condition, or they might be present on both sides. The top width is generally 3 to 4 meter and side slope is generally 1.5 to it's to 1 to 1.5 is to 1 or 2 is to 1. Means side slope is generally 1.5 is to 1 or 2 is to 1, and top width is 3 to 4 meter. Okay, whose dimension we are seeking here? That is marginal embankments or dikes which are constructed in the parallel direction of the river bank, on either side or on both sides. The height of embankment depends on the highest flood level. Yes, of course, we'll design the height of embankment or dikes according to the highest flood level of that drainage. A suitable margin is provided between the toe of the embankment and the bank of the river. Means will provide a suitable gap. Okay. To resist the effect of corrosion on the embankment, wooden piles are driven along the river banks throughout the length of dikes. Okay. To reduce the effect of erosion. Okay, means to nullify or to reduce the effect, we use wooden piles, okay, that are driven along the river banks throughout the dike. The length of dike is protected by boulders pitching, means stone pitching, okay, with cement grouted, okay, and the downstream side is protected by turfing. We construct turfs there, that is on the uh, downstream side. Okay, we provide on upstream side boulders with cement grouting, okay, and in downstream side we construct turfs. Marginal bunds are constructed for following purposes. What are the requirements for the construction of marginal bunds? It prevents the flood water or storage water from entering the surrounding area. Yes, it reduces the seepage. Okay, it and seepage can lead to many severe problems that may be reduction of head. Okay, if water gets seeped, then there will be continuous reduction in the head. Another point is that the surrounding regions will be affected, the soil region near the regions will be affected, the bearing capacity of that soil will get reduced. Okay, so it prevents from water entering to the surrounding area. It retains the flood water or storage water within a specified region. It prevents the uh, water from expanding its width. Okay, it protects the town and village from devastation during the heavy flood. And during the heavy flood, if there is marginal embankment that retains the town and village, okay, protected from heavy flood water. It protects valuable agricultural lands, as if there is side slope failures or water may seep or water may enter the near regions, then it can destroy the agricultural lands also. So it protects from destruction of agricultural lands. Here you can see the cross section of marginal ones with protection. Okay, this is marginal bund with protection. Okay, now last part is guide bank. When a barrage is constructed across a river, which flows through the alluvial soil, the guide bank must be constructed on both the approaches to protect the structure from erosion. If barrage is constructed for a river that is flowing through alluvial soil, then there we require construction of guide banks on both approaches, means both sides. Okay, both sides of bank we need construct the guide banks, okay, to protect it from erosion. It is an earthen embankment with curved head on both ends. They are constructed as curved. Uh, this is the example of guide banks. Okay, so they are curved. Okay, and they are earthen. The guide bank serves the following purposes. It protects the barrage from effect of scouring and erosion. It protects both uh, barrage from both scouring and erosion. Scouring resembles rubbing off the surfaces, and erosion may be flowing of surfaces. Okay, controls the tendency of changing the course of river, means it checks with the uh, change in the river flow direction. Okay, it controls the velocity of flow near the structure, also checks with the velocity. Okay, whether it is in desired limit or not. This is a particular example of guide bank. Okay, now these are the components of guide bank, that is upstream curve head, downstream curve head, shank portion, okay, sloping apron, launching apron, and pile protection. Okay, here you can see this is launching apron. Okay, now upstream curve head is where in the direction of flow. This is upstream and this is downstream. Similarly, sloping apron. Okay, this is your launching apron. Okay, and this is pile protection. Here you can see, not shown in this diagram, well actually, but you can see. Okay, so these are the components of guide banks. Now, we also need to know the causes of failure of weir or barrage. Okay, but this we will discuss in head regulatory works, okay, in detail. So till we left this for next unit, and in the coming lecture we'll start with head regulatory works. Okay, there we will discuss this in detail. Okay, so thank you for listening, and feel free to ask any doubt. You can text WhatsApp on this number, you can mail me on this mail ID. Thank you for listening. Take care.